Now, guys, I hear the term caregiver when it comes to seniors and their children. Let's take some time here and explain exactly what the term caregiver means and the effects that can have on not the person receiving the care, but the person that would be providing that care.
Yeah, this is a big one, and a lot of people don't really realize. You talk to people about long-term care, and they make jokes about lighthearted jokes about it, saying, "I don't want long-term care. I'm just going to save my kids." Well, that in theory, that's all well and good. The problem is your kids aren't really going to understand exactly what they're signing up for or getting into. As all of the listeners know, and Chris, Jeremy, and Travis, all of us know, I talk a lot about my parents. I use real life examples when I sit with a client doing a Medicare presentation. I'll actually use real life examples, because I think people relate to that. Well, I've had a lot of experience being a caregiver. I am a caregiver right now. My mother is 85 years old. She's doing fantastic. She hasn't been in the hospital. I'm going to knock on wood here. Since April of this last year. So she's doing really, really well. But I will tell you this. In 2022, she had 144 claims.
Wow.
And $185,000 in medical bills. And I was with her side by side for all 144 of those claims. So that's a big deal. That's a lot of it's a lot of stress. I love my parents dearly. My dad passed away, and before he passed away, I worked with him a lot on some of the things that he was experiencing. And I'm going to tell you a few. I'm going to give you listeners a few little tips to think about. I had a client that wrote a book, and this book, it was a very easy read. It wasn't a very thick book, and it was talking about how to deal with someone that is going through and suffering from dementia.
Okay.
And I will tell you, it was probably one of the best books that I've read that was so impactful to me, and here's why. I would go over and visit with my dad. Now, I didn't really understand exactly what was going on, but it was so difficult, and I would get so frustrated with him because he wouldn't really remember some of the things that he was doing throughout the days. And he would forget this, and he would forget that, and he would go somewhere, and it would take him 45 minutes to an hour when it was 10 minutes up the road, right? And it was like, what is going on? And the problem that I had was I got short-tempered, and I would walk out of there, and I read that book, and that changed everything for me immediately. Mm-hmm. Because you have to understand what they're going through. And when you're a caregiver, you don't get what they're going through. You're just there to help them. So a couple of things. I've got a list of some items here to kind of be prepared for if you are thrust into the caregiver role. One, if you're a caregiver for a family member, make sure that you secure a power of attorney. If you're the one that is going to be deemed the health care provider for them, make sure you get the power of attorney. Be a companion and compassionate, and let the other person make the decisions as much as possible. Help guide them, because if you have to give them that sense that they still have some control. If you remove everything from them, what will do they have to live for anymore, right?
Right.
Handle finances and other legal matters. These are things that you're going to have to do. And make sure that you've got things put in place. That's where the power of attorney comes into play. You're going to need to talk with doctors, nurses, and care managers. When I go with my mother, she's very, very hard of hearing. I sit with a doctor and I answer every one of the questions because I know mom's health inside and out. Mm-hmm. I know exactly what's going on with her, right? You're going to need to buy groceries. I do that all the time. Clean the house, help cook. Provide transportation is another one that you're going to need to be prepared for. Arrange for medical appointments. Medications. I've got a 30-day pill case that I use for my mom, and I actually bought one for mom and dad Dad unfortunately passed away before he could really utilize it. So now mom's got a 90-day supply, but I give her 60 at a time. And I go over once a month and I refill all of those prescriptions for her. And lo and behold, I will tell you, for any of you listening that are experiencing any things that I'm experiencing, you open up the old pill case and sure enough, there's 1 or 2 pills that are stuck in the case that she didn't take, right?
It's like when you buy electronics and you have all those extra screws left over.
Exactly. It's the same thing. There's a pill here. Mom say, oh, I dropped a pill the other day and it's laying on the floor and she can't find it. She can't bend over to get it. Those things happen, And probably one of the more important things, not that all of them aren't important, but make sure you take time for yourself. I have a family and I have things that I do around my own house. And when I go over to Mom's, I have to make sure that I take care of everything for her. So make sure you take time for yourself to decompress. So some of the other things personally that I will tell you, when the last time Mom was in the hospital, she went to a skilled nursing facility. And while she was in a skilled nursing facility, I stopped and saw her every day. And while she was there, I was her son. Mm-hmm. It was fun. We laughed. We joked. She talked and dealt with people her age. When I go over to her house, I'm not her son, Scott. I'm her caregiver. And she'll say, I need this done. I need the light bulb changed here. I can't fix my sewing machine, needs this. I need that. And it puts you in a situation where it's like, oh, man, I have to go over to Mom's tomorrow. I have to do this or whatever. You don't want to be in that situation, but I'm going to tell you it's real, and don't feel guilty for that because it is something that you are doing and providing for your loved one. So, we're coming to the end of the show here, and I want to make sure that I wrap it up with this. Being a caregiver, I look at it as actually a privilege. I still have Mom that I can help take care of and help her with some of the things she needs. She's pretty self-sufficient, but I still have her, and that's very, very important to me. If you are going to be thrust into that role and you don't have things put in place, we actually have created some documents and some brochures. We have the Ultimate Estate Planning Guide, which kind of addresses some of these same issues that we're talking about. If you want a copy of that Ultimate Estate Planning Guide, it is free. It's yours to have. Just reach out to us, and we'll make sure that we get one to you.
Again, whether you are transitioning into retirement or you're taking care of a loved one, there's a lot of big changes there, and it's something that can be kind of daunting to go on your own. The good news is this isn't something that you need to do on your own. Let the team at America's Retirement Headquarters, America's Medicare Associates, use their combined 75-plus years of experience to help you with that transition. Just pick up the phone and give a call, 419-794-3030, or go to the website, arhq.com. We want to thank you for joining us here on the show, spending time with us here on America's Retirement Headquarters. Please have a great week ahead of you. Be safe out there. And guys, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with the final word.
Well, Jeremy, I want to thank you for joining today, and thank all you listeners and viewers. We just want to make sure that if there's anything out there that we can do for you, visit us. Listen to our radio show. We're on every Saturday from noon to 1 here on Toledo's #1 talk radio show, WSPD 1370. Thank you.
Thank you.